Um, At this time, the chair will take a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call vote. Mr. De Silva,
Aye.
Mr. Pollak,
Aye.
Mr. Corsini,
Aye.
Mrs. Picard,
Not here. Just go yourself.
Mr. Andriozzi, Mr. Marciano. Chair votes aye.
There you go.
We are now in executive session.
Go to Ben's link.
All right, so we're gonna close.
And go
Yeah,
to
leave
Ben's.
the meeting and go into Ben's link.
Correct.
Cindy, you're still there?
I am. You know what? I was doing some work and Matt's in his office too, so.
Well, we never heard back from NRU, which is very disappointing.
Yeah, I agree.
The public is in this meeting, okay?
Oh, okay.
They're
Ralph,
waiting
just,
for the
Ralph, just look at my background.
They're waiting for them to come back from executive session, but the public is
Okay.
in the meeting.
All right, thank you. Cindy, I'll talk to you later.
All right.
I can't hear you, Ralph. He's talking to us?
No, I'm trying to give a little tech support on the phone.
Oh, okay, all right.
Crew.
Thanks, Ralph, sorry.
Hi, Louise. You're muted.
How are you feeling?
Not too bad. It's starting to kick in today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling them today.
Oh, yeah. Take good care of yourself. Don't push
You-
it.
You look good.
Yeah, thank you. I like my gray background. At least it's not my, my hotel room. This will be decorated.
So Norma Jean, we just have to send out an email to the principals that when they make changes to their school safety plan going forward, to do so in a different color.
Okay,
So would you do that tomorrow or after the
Yeah,
meeting
sure
or
can.
whatever? Just from year to year, so that the school committee can see the changes. Let them know that the plans were all approved, everything went well. The only request is that going forward, any changes to the plans from one year to the next be done in a different color. Say red.
okay. All right.
Participants.
And you are on, yeah, they have them back out there.
You're gonna get me the oh, right, here's the participants.
Participants, yep. So if you click on that, there you go.
Sorry for the delay. Are all committee members on?
I don't see Steve yet. Oh, Steve's signing in now.
Okay,
And Matthew,
okay, Arthur,
Could be in, right?
Pollock,
Yes,
Mrs. Picard,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Mr. Josie?
Yes, sir. Am I in?
We see you, Steve.
Mr. De Silva,
A nice high def picture.
Mr. De Silva,
I'm here.
okay. So I think we're all here, the committee's all here.
We're ready.
Okay. Before we start the public session and call the meeting to order, why don't we stand and salute the flag and take a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We had an executive session this evening, and we took a vote in executive session to approve all the school safety and emergency plans for 2021 as required by general laws and regulations. And the vote was to approve the school safety and emergency plans. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes.
so moved.
Move to approve the minutes of the September 23rd meeting, I think it was.
Correct. Is there a second?
Second.
Pollock, Mr. Marciano, Mr. Pollock, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no correspondence. We have no requests for public comments. Consent agenda. Chair will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Move the consent agenda as presented.
Mr. Marciano,
Second.
second by Mr. Corsini.
Yes.
Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 7, Superintendent's report. Mr. Goho. Are you there, Mr. Goho?
Thank you, Dr. Pilata, members of the committee. My first item is on behalf of the school committee. And the school department, we would like to recognize our high school social studies department chair and head swim coach, Miss Crystal Bazigian, who has been selected as the Rhode Island Interscholastic League Swim Coach of the Year. A little bit of background about Miss Bazigian. She has been a member of our coaching staff for 11 seasons, coaching both girls and boys swim. As the assistant coach, she was part of 4 boys swim division and state championships. And as our head coach for the last 8 years, her teams won 1 boys division and state championship, and this year accomplished the goal of winning the first girls swim division and state championship together in school history. In addition, her teams have won numerous team sportsmanship awards, which we are most proud of. Ms. Bazigian and her staff, Mr. Machino, go above and beyond each year, raising funds and sponsoring their own end-of-season banquet. These accomplishments have been recognized by the Rhode Island Interscholastic League and our athletic department, and have awarded Coach Bazigian the Girls Swim Coach of the Year 2019 to 2020. Congratulations to Ms. Bazigian and her assistant coach, Mr. Machino. On behalf of the Town of North Providence School Committee, it is hereby known that the North Providence School Committee offers the sincerest congratulations to Crystal Bazigian for being named the Rhode Island Interscholastic League 2019-2020 Girls Swim Coach of the Year. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Proposed this 28th day of October 2020, signed by Dr. Frank Pilata, Chairman of the North Providence School Committee. Congratulations, Ms. Bazigian. I believe you are on with us if you just want to acknowledge it.
Are you there, Ms. Bazigian? And Mr. Musino?
No, she can't unmute. Okay, so she just
Can
texted me that
Ralph-
she's unable to unmute, but she's
I think
there.
Ralph might be, can Ralph unmute
So,
her?
yeah, if I may, they cannot just jump into the meetings anymore. They have to raise their hand and then I let them in. So I'm not, there's
Stand
2
on a note on that.
Bogasians. I'm not sure if I just let the right one in. All right, there's Crystal now. Hold on, she's coming in.
All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I had to raise my hand to join that. And the other Bozigian is my family joining from another room. So I just want to thank Superintendent Goho and thank you, Dr. Pilata, and the other members of the school committee. In June, we met to honor and celebrate the girls swim team's first ever Division III state championship. And I spoke at length about all of their numerous accomplishments. And you are in luck tonight because I would much rather speak about the swimmers than myself. So I'm going to make this very brief. This Coach of the Year honor awarded by the Rhode Island Interscholastic League is the exclamation point on an already historic season for our school. I share this honor completely with my assistant coach, Steve Muccino, and all the swimmers this past season, as well as the swimmers that we have coached together for the past 11 seasons together. I want to thank Cougar Athletics, administration, and the school committee for the continued support of our team and all student athletes in our school. These are uncertain times, but I am so happy to see that just today, the reopening of the North Providence Pool and Fitness Center was announced, and that puts us one step closer to getting back in the pool together once again as the boys and girls Cougar swim team ready to compete for another season that we anticipate to be yet another exciting year. I want to thank everyone for your time this evening. I wish all student athletes the best of luck as we navigate our sports seasons under very challenging circumstances while striving to be more resilient, more dedicated, and more humble, a winning combination in my opinion. And yes, for me, that was very brief. So thank you, everyone. And again, I truly appreciate the honor. I received my citation yesterday through interoffice mail. It is proudly displayed in my office. So again, I can't thank you all enough. And it is truly a pleasure to serve the town that I grew up in, the pool that I swam in, and you know, the team of 45 swimmers, some of the best students that we have at North Providence High School. So thank you, everyone.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Crystal and Steve. Thank you very much for your commitment and dedication to the program. It certainly has paid off. And I'm sure the students are the beneficiaries of both of your talents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pilata. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, I would ask for approval by the school committee of the enclosed local 920 MOA regarding statewide PD days.
Move passage.
Mr. Marciano moves passage. Is there a second?
Second,
Seconded by Mr.
Andriozzi.
Andriozzi.
Yes, sir.
Are there questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C.
Next item on the agenda. First, I would like to recognize and introduce and welcome back. We are ecstatic to have back our returning Human Resources Director, Mr. Matthew Hicks. Matthew, if you are able, I don't know if everybody on the school committee has met you, so if you can just jump in and say hello, that would be great.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be back. Familiar faces. It's really nice to see you all. It's been 3 years, but it doesn't feel like it. So it's really great to be back in the seat. So I appreciate it. And again, I'm happy to be here, and it's nice to see you all.
We're so happy to have you back, Matt. Welcome back.
Thanks, Gina. Thank you all.
Matt, you did a great job for us before, and again, I have to echo what Gina just indicated. You're a fine young man. You're going to do a great job like you did in the past.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Well, I want to thank the previous school committee for their appointment of you. I heard a lot of good things about you, and I'm glad you're back.
Me too.
And I wish you much success in your position. And it was nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I should note that Ms. Goet has sent us communications of the photos of her beachfront property down south, where she is now enjoying her retirement. So one day, Matthew, we'll be able to do the same.
One day.
But I want to thank Mr. Hicks for helping me research this item. So, as you know, due to COVID, we have a number of vacated certified positions, a number of people on FMLA, and it is a statewide, nationwide challenge to find substitutes. So we are proposing an increase of our daily rate so that we can be competitive with other districts, surrounding districts. We have lost some people to other districts because many of them have increased their daily substitute teacher pay. So we are we're requesting that the school committee increase hours from $100 a day to $125, which will put us competitive with surrounding districts. And also, as I mentioned in my previous update, we have received a grant from the Rhode Island Department of Ed for approximately $40,000 for substitute teachers, which has to be spent by the end of December. And we have one of the first districts chosen by RIDE who has partnered with the Highlander Institute to train a pool of qualified people to be substitutes. We received notification last night from Highlander that they're sending us the first pool of 6 people this week, and they have another pool of 10 people coming online strictly for North Providence. So we're happy about that. So the RIDE grant will cover the increase of $125, and then we will budget for that in the subsequent budget cycle. So I'm asking for approval from the school committee to increase the daily substitute teacher pay to $125 per day.
So moved.
Passage.
Second.
I'm sorry, was that Mr. Andriozzi?
And Mr. Marciano, yes.
And-
Yep.
Marciano,
Yep.
any questions on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item D, recall that back in the spring pre-pandemic, the school department and my office and the school committee in discussing school security upgrades to our older elementary schools, the school committee and the school department felt it was important to have equity across all of our elementary schools, with the 2 new schools opening up with all of the state-of-the-art security systems.
That's a huge
So
factor.
we put together a letter of request that we sent over to the town council, which was approved by the town council, for us to be able to do the same in terms of security at the 3 older elementary schools, which includes a full and complete closed circuit TV surveillance system, fobs for increased access to the building for emergency personnel, and bulletproof safety glass at the entranceways for the school secretary, similar to what we have at Stephen Olney and McGuire. And there will be no impact, if you recall, on the budget. We are using all of the money donated from the kids club rental. There's approximately $140,000 in that account. We requested an amount up to and not to exceed approximately $75,000. So I do want to thank the school committee for that initiative and also the town council for granting us our request. And most importantly to Mr. Nahijian and his team for the work that they have done. And I've asked him to come tonight to give you guys a brief update as to where we stand. So Mr. Nahijian.
Thank you, Superintendent Goho. So the three primary schools that we were concerned with was Wayland, Greystone, and Centerdale, who needed to be upgraded, who had no security camera systems and had limited fob access systems. Wayland is 100% completed with 14 cameras and a minimum of 4 doors added to the security and access control. Centerdale has 14 cameras, and Greystone, we have 1 camera left to do over there. They also have had that all upgraded. That camera system ties directly by fiber optics to the police and fire dispatch center, where they can monitor those cameras as well as go to those cameras if they get a call for service there, whether it be a fire alarm in the middle of the night or anything like that. Also, the most important thing was the police it's all tied in, so their current fobs for everything they use every day at the police department works in all the schools. So they don't have to fumble for another fob or try to find keys or anything to the building. So their exact fob they use all day can work in all the schools. And also the principal has full access to the cameras in their school, as well as the main office has a 42-inch monitor where the secretary can monitor the day-to-day, where they can change, monitor the front door and stuff like that when they talk to people.
Well, thank you, Ralph, and thank you, Mr. Goho, and thank you to the school administration for coming up with the idea to use the allowable revenue from Kids Club to upgrade those elementary schools. It's a great idea. It doesn't impact our operational budget, so thank you for that.
I'm
Any
very
other
happy that, sorry.
questions or comments regarding the elementary school safety upgrades?
I'd just like to, I'd like to thank Ralph and his team for all their continued hard work for our students.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Frank?
Yes, Mr. Marciano.
Yeah, I'd like to echo Mr. Pollock's comment. I have one of Ralph's guys near me right now tonight, and he mentioned what they did, and these guys are like unsung heroes, They work really, really hard, and I know, God, keeping our children safe, I don't think there's anything more important than that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, item E, Mr. Goho.
I should just let you know one last item related to that. We have gone out to bid today for the security windows because we were not comfortable with the prices that we received from the company on the master price list. So I will be coming back to you probably next month with approval of a bid for 3 security windows at the elementary schools. And we're hoping to do the same with the 2 middle schools and the high school, but we would use the Kids Club money for the elementary schools only. So that concludes that. Next item is the Assistant Superintendent update, Mrs. Seitzinger.
First of all, Louise, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good and very well. Thank you so much.
Good. Okay.
I appreciate your support. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Superintendent Goho and Chairman Pilata and members of the school committee. It's nice to see you this evening. Just a brief update. You have my update, but just a few highlights that I wanted to go over. We had a statewide professional learning day, October 19th, and it was filled with differentiated learning opportunities for all of our staff. Some of those things included 2 sessions with Bradley Hospital at the elementary level, which was on self-care. That was just part of their day. It was called It's All About You for educators and staff. And the Equity Institute conducted a brief meeting with all of the elementary schools to review what's going to be happening with the needs assessment that we're doing across all of the elementary schools. IXL presented some information regarding social studies and science resources for grades 2 through 8. And the high school conducted NEASC accreditation work, and teachers at all levels conducted planning, collaboration with each other in terms of prioritizing content standards and professional learning community work together. So that's always a success. And the feedback I've received so far through our exit service has been very positive. So just wanted to share that as well. Our distance learners and in-person learners, that's going very well. Teachers and students continue to work diligently at all levels to teach and learn in our environments. doing an amazing job. And we are supporting them in best practices for both distance learning and in-person teaching with instructional coaches, content leaders, department chairs, Highlander Institute, and New England Base Camp. And certainly they learn a lot from each other as well. But I want to thank our administrators and teachers at all levels for their outstanding work and commitment to our students. Can't say that enough. And then just a special highlight, I started in my teaching and learning tidbit on Thursdays, a colleague collaboration corner, and I'm really excited about that because as we know, teachers learn best from each other. So we're starting to share some wonderful lessons, activities, strategies that they're using for distance learners and in-person learners. So I'm really excited about that. And I have really, everyone's been excited to share. So that's a wonderful thing. So that'll be representative of the whole district, pre-K to 12, all different content areas, all types of teaching, support staff, etc. The PSAT, SAT on Wednesday, October 14th, students in grades 11 and 12 completed the PSAT and SAT respectively at North Providence High School. We had 98 grade 11 students who took it, the PSAT, and 148 seniors who took the SAT. Special thanks to Mrs. Bronco and for the entire team at the high school for supporting that effort, which went very well. These are some PTEC and CTE updates from our Director of Multiple Pathways, Mrs. Caffrey. I'm going to highlight some of them. They're quite numerous and we're really proud of that, but I want to just highlight a few. I've been asked to co-chair with Jen Huber from the Marine Trade Academy, the Marine Trades Advisory Board, of which Kevin McKiernan and also Melissa will be supporting in that effort. Our first cohort of PTEC students are graduating in 2021, so that's really exciting for us. PTEC has 14 students currently on track to graduate with their associate degree in health science, another exciting piece. And currently we have 74 students in grades 10, 11, and 12 taking college courses remotely at CCRI, working towards their associate degree, and the PTEC students take these classes in the evening. The Perkins monies are also going forward, and we're receiving approximately $88,000 plus in terms of our local needs assessment, which was submitted by Mrs. McCaffrey this summer. So thanks again to her for that. The marine trades and pre-engineering and computer science are all up and running at the high school. And our middle school's pre-AP algebra class was also implemented this past September. And finally, our middle school's CTA Gateway programs will be up and running in January of 2021 for our Project Lead the Way, preparing our students for college and career readiness. So we're very excited about those classes beginning. And just as a side note, we had a Pink Out Day. It's our third annual one, and this was our fourth one actually, on October 16th, and we raised over $1,300, which is about $100 more than last year. So thank you to everyone for your generosity and support of that important cause. And then finally, we were going to have an NRU parent-family workshop last night, but unfortunately we had some technical difficulties. So we're going to work on that and reschedule that with the NRU Counseling Center. And that's it.
Louise?
Yeah, just one other, I see where 27 seniors are taking an EMT course for certification.
Yes.
That's very good. And that's
amazing.
Male and female?
Yes, yes.
Very good.
Yes.
That's a great program. I can personally vouch for that.
It's really amazing. And I didn't go over every single bullet,
No,
but
I talk, they can hear me.
yeah. And currently also we have 29 juniors taking the CNA class this year, and males and females in that class. So that's really exciting.
Thank you.
Louise?
Mr. Marciano?
Louise? Yeah, I'm particularly happy about item number 10, adding the business financial management program in September 2021.
Yes.
We once had a very strong business program at North Providence High School, which included business program, business law, many courses. I taught some of those courses, so I really favor that. And I think in today's society, practical courses like this are very, very helpful to our students.
We agree.
If they don't go on to college, they get some basic knowledge of the business and finance. And I applaud yourself, Melissa for the program.
No,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll also add to that, that the first cohort now, the P-TECH students are graduating in 2021.
Yes, yes.
That's great. That's great
Yeah.
news. P-TECH programs come a very long way in a short period of time.
And that's, I mean, well, someone, the credit has to go to Melissa McCaffrey. Obviously, she's done an amazing job, and we're just so proud of her and her whole team there, and just amazing work, amazing. So we're grateful, as Mr. Marciano said, it's really important to provide all these opportunities for our students, whether it's, not all students are ready and want to choose to go to college. And so we have to have these other opportunities. So we're really, really happy that we have and we can afford these opportunities to our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, item 8, we have no school committee reports. Item 9, we have no old business. Item 10, new business. Review and discussion, school improvement teams. Mr. Goho.
Thank you, Dr. Pilata. I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Picard in a moment, as she requested last month that this item be put on the agenda. As you know, with the new education reform law, there is increased meaning of school improvement teams and increased involvement in the direction and leadership of the school. Attorney Scungio has done a training of all of our building principals for the nuances of this law, including school improvement teams, the composition of them. The school committee was very proactive and had tremendous foresight in passing a school improvement team policy, which all of our administrators have been trained on, and they spent the beginning of the school year in the summer obviously getting ready for the pandemic, but also doing the best they can to start implementing and putting together their school improvement teams. All that information has been submitted to my office, placed on the school and district websites, and all that information has been provided to you as well. So at this point, that I will turn this over to Mrs. Picard.
Thanks, Joe. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised. I was really excited to see that the majority of schools had varying times, so parents and community members could participate. Sunnydale is a great example. Stephen only, the high school, like I saw 3 times, one in the morning for parents who could do that, afternoon at 3:30, and then at 6. So that was great to see. I really appreciate the schools that did that. I'd like to request that Ritchie and Birchwood take a look at that. I was disappointed to see that they only had times right after school, which also I think may lead to the fact that they have the least amount of parents across the district on their teams. So when you're looking at a quorum, I mean, I'm sure I know Ben did the training for them. When they're looking at a quorum, you're going to have at Birchwood 11 staff, 4 parents, and 3 students. And I know Ritchie said that they were going to rotate the students. So I'm guessing, are the students not voting members, or are they sort of advisory or liaison? Or are they part of the quorum? I wasn't sure based on which Ritchie wrote the rotating.
I don't know, I'd have to ask Mr. Mellon that, which I will do tomorrow.
Okay. But like overall, it was clear to me that we had a greater parent participation. I saw 2 council members as community members, which was awesome. So I appreciate the fact that both Ken Amarigi and Stefano Famlighetti are becoming very active in our schools. So kudos to both of them. I would just, like I said, the only other thing besides the times at Ritchie and Birchwood would be the review of the parents. I just want to shout out to Greystone and the high school for having the most number of parents represented. Awesome job. Greystone almost has it 50-50. So that is a credit to Stephanie. So please send her my appreciation for that, because I know that goes a long way with the community. We do have the opportunity as a school committee to refer Joe to continue to help appoint members as time goes on. Joe, I would love to be able to see us increase the or support the schools however they need to get the word out to have more parent community support, so that we can make sure that we're really mindful of the work. We do have a parent advisory council policy. We have that in place where I know you would meet with families. I think it's quarterly. And we are supposed to look at that policy once a year for any updates. But anything we could do to help, and like I said, for the middle schools, my thinking is maybe the varying of times would be a way to help cast a wider net. But overall, Thank you for making sure it was on the website. If we could do the same with the minutes, that would be great. Because I think it's helpful for even parents and community members who cannot attend to be able to see what was voted on and what was discussed. Will the agendas be posted previous, Joe, on the website prior to the meetings?
That's not something that we have discussed, but I don't see why that can't be done.
Yeah, I'm just curious, just so I would have some ideas, but that's basically my review of what I saw. So like I said, overall, really, really great work on everyone's part, just a couple of minor revisions. And I think we're getting into a much better place.
Mr. Gilmore has just sent me information that his next meeting is scheduled at 6 p.m.
Go, Brian. There we go. Because I tell him I'm coming next year, so he knows.
And he's getting ready. And he has 13 parents signed up as well.
Excellent.
And I know that the schools had planned on, once they assembled their school improvement teams, asking the group what would be the best time for meetings, a varying time or a single time, and trying to gather input once they had that first meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mrs. Picard. Any other comments? I'll just follow up by saying I want to thank all the principals for their hard work in assembling the school improvement teams. It's not an easy task to assemble the school improvement teams and to orient them to their roles and responsibilities. So I want to thank everybody that has volunteered to serve on the school improvement teams. And in advance, thank you for your hard work and working with the administration, and particularly the principals, in setting the standards at the individual schools and being involved in the strategic plans of each of those schools. So thank you to everyone serving on those committees. Item B, face covering policy, Mr. Goho.
Thank you, Dr. Pilata. So I'm going to turn these two items over to Attorney Scungio for a brief explanation, but I would like the approval of the school committee to adopt immediately the face covering policy for the COVID-19 pandemic, which would go into effect immediately in consultation with the commissioner's office and even the governor's office regarding the executive order. It is strongly recommended that school districts pass their own second layer of protection or enforcement of this executive order by having their own policy on the books regarding face coverings, specifically as it relates to this COVID-19 pandemic time period. So I have enclosed a policy for you, and I'm asking tonight for the school committee to approve it, and it would go into effect immediately. Now have Attorney Scungio explain publicly how we're able to do that.
With respect to both items B and C, first, with respect to the face covering policy, as Superintendent mentioned, the intent of that is to buttress the administration's prerogative to protect students, staff, and their respective families. And that's what it's aimed at this point in time. The superintendent asked me to research the bylaws, the town charter, and also state law to see whether or not the school committee had the ability to vote and accept the policy at one meeting. And I found that there was no prohibition against doing that. So given the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic, it's my recommendation that the committee just moves to adopt this tonight. And that is a segue into the item number C, which is the bylaws. The chair had asked me to review the bylaws, make some adjustments to it relative to streamlining it, eliminate redundancies. And one of the things that I addressed is passing policies and not being encumbered by 3 readings. It says 2 right now. But in any event, because there are so many changes in it, my recommendation with respect to that to the chair would be to send it to the bylaws subcommittee so they can review it and then report back to the committee. It's not up to me to construct your bylaws. So what I have is suggestions and things to look at in that area. If anybody has any questions on either item, I'm happy to take them.
Then I have one question.
Yeah.
On the COVID, thank you, sir. On the COVID face coverings, it says first read. Is that gonna cause any issues to us, or?
No, it's not gonna, and that's an excellent question. When we put the agenda together, Norma Jean put in discussion and vote, so it gives you the opportunity to vote on it. With respect to first read, we don't want to preempt the committee in case the committee wanted to have it come back multiple times, in which case the superintendent would probably have to set up a series of special meetings to get it done.
Okay.
So we just wanted to accommodate for that for you in the event that that's what you wanted.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, so the recommendation is to approve the face covering policy that you have before you. The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Made.
Motion by Mrs. Picard,
Second.
seconded by
Mr. De Silva.
Mr. De Silva.
Correct.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Item 11. Approval of bills.
Question? Discussion?
Mr. Silva.
That's Mr. Andriozzi.
sorry.
We have
You're
to,
Motion.
I don't have you on my
We got a
screen.
motion.
Sorry.
I move that we approve these, and let's get a second. Let's have our discussion.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Mr. Andriozzi.
No, I want a
Second.
discussion. I want a discussion.
Yeah, Rod
Gonna
made
get a
the motion. I'll
discussion.
second.
It's on the
Thank you.
floor right now.
Silva,
We can have
Mr.
a
De
discussion.
Silva made the motion.
Correct.
Correct,
Paz seconded the motion.
Yes.
correct.
Questions
Now
on
we
the
can have discussion.
Thank
question?
you, sir. I just have a quick question. So I noticed there's quite a few bills from Casey's, Lowe's, and Granger. I'm just curious if that money's coming from the CARES Act or if we're using our operating budget, because it looks like a lot of it is janitorial supplies and just basic supplies. I'm sure they're to keep the schools clean and safe. I just want to know if it's monies that we can be reimbursed from the state in some way, shape, or form from the CARES Act.
I'm gonna have Miss Casanelli. Sorry, Lisa, I married you there for a second. I'm gonna ask Miss Casanelli to respond with some specifics, but I can tell you that yes, we have to move forward with COVID-related purchases and then submit. Have submitted and have an ongoing submission of an application to the state for reimbursement of the expenditures. So that's how it's working. We go ahead and purchase it, and then we apply to get reimbursed by the state. So, Ms. Casanelli, anything you want to fill in?
It's really a mix. A lot of it is COVID related, especially the ones that you just referenced. The Casey, there was a large number of supplies purchased ahead of time. A lot of the Granger and things like that were the room fans. Lowe's, we purchased a lot of the air purifiers, the HEPA filters, the UV lighting that was put into the system. So yeah, there is a large amount this month in the bills for that COVID. So we have been approved, our application. So it's really just a matter of submitting reimbursement requests now, and I have one in currently. So we're for 84,000, I believe. So that'll be coming in every month. I'll be submitting a reimbursement through the end of December and July to recoup all that money. So
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
you're welcome. Not a problem.
Dr.
Any other,
Palaka?
Mr. Andriozzi?
No,
All set?
so am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I had emailed our finance director a bunch of questions, and she has responded to many of them. And most of these have to do with paint, plumbing, school supplies, not school supplies, excuse me, janitorial supplies, and HVAC, and the Lowe's. So, and I see one that we're just getting an invoice. It was emergency repair, and we just got the invoice from plumbing, and the work was done last February. So I know we have an excellent team in our finance department, but I'm wondering if we're still able to track the minutia, the day-to-day, the who's using, are we following the protocols, are we following the policy set up for our credit cards? And that's not on Ms. Casanelli, that's on the people who are using them. And I don't think our finance department should be someone who has to chase people to get that done. So that was my concern, that we hear about we're not getting our finances in order, and I think our finances are in order. And I think we need more information
not just to be a rubber stamp for a credit card, not to be a rubber stamp for things we don't know what they are. When I see a tuition bill, I know what it is. When I see credit cards for building supplies, what buildings, what supplies, who's using the credit card, and I just think we need more transparency and transparency. And if it's not forthcoming to our finance department, then the people using that need to be told to give us more information. So I do thank Ms. Castanelli for all the information she sent back to me. And I realize she's still waiting for more information coming from our facilities director. But I am prepared to vote on these.
Thank
And
you.
I concur with you, Mr. De Silva. I've been asking for this for quite some time now. More transparency in the bills. Thank you. And I appreciate, Lisa, what you've been doing.
Sorry, Mike. I can tell you that everything now is on a purchase order, and we have set up blanket purchase orders for the facilities. And Scott, Jimmy, they all have been using the POs with their vendors. And we've called vendors and told them nothing can be purchased without a purchase order. And it has to be called in by either Jimmy or Scott or Kenny that have the card. And they've been really good about bringing the slips in and writing what it's for, referencing the schools on the bills. So it is a big change from some of this stuff in the past where we're just getting bills now for stuff that happened.
Right. If I may, another concern I had was how are these purchases matching up with our budget? Or is it just, do we have a budgetary control on that? I understand emergencies, and I understand COVID, and I understand all of that, but the janitorial supplies, the school supplies, things like that. So I'm just hoping that.
So far, so good. You're right. So we set up the purchase orders in that way so that we put the purchase orders in at the budget number, so that if we're running through the purchase order too quickly, we will know about it and be able to see what's happening with that. And of course, I believe next month is my goal to try to get you guys a budget report every month now at the meetings. I just sent them out to the principals last month, and that was really helpful because they were able to track where their money is going and keep track of their POs and things like that. So
it's important. Well, I do thank you personally for the work you've done in the last few couple of days to get back to me on that. And I was not going to ask these questions in public and have you go scrambling for answers. I just think
right. No, I appreciate it because it gave me a chance to really dig and ask the questions.
Exactly.
So if I didn't have the answer immediately.
Oh, I appreciate everything you did. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you,
Dr. Plata.
and Mr. Andriozzi.
Plata, if I may, one more time, Dr. Plata, that's like a breath of fresh air.
I'm sorry, who's that?
Mr. De Silva, I'm saying that's like a breath of fresh air. So I do really appreciate that.
Yeah, just so maybe we have an understanding, Lisa, in terms of the process. Someone would submit a purchase order to you, and there's an amount of money, and it's identified what they want to purchase. You verify that against the budget for that line item. If you approve that, then the individual could go out and use the credit card to purchase the material in an amount not to exceed what's on that purchase order.
Right. Yep.
So no one is to use the credit card without prior approval through a purchase order.
Well, we do have the blanket ones set up for the maintenance department. So that if there's an emergency or something like that, they go out and they reference that PO though, so that it's on every bill. And we know that, because we had to set up some blanket ones for some of them. Otherwise it would just encumber that, and they wouldn't be able to get the supplies and repair things quickly. But if it's something we know ahead of time, they will put a separate PO in to make the purchase. It's really more for the emergency running around type thing, but they have blanket POs.
And if they exceed the charter amount, which is how much, $5,000 or less than $5,000, it has to go out to bid.
Right.
Right. I believe it's 5,000.
if,
5,000, yes, and $1,000, we're gonna get 3 written quotes.
Free, right? And under that is like, they can get or
Verbal.
just or verbal, right?
and they can,
5,000 is bid.
they can exceed the $5,000 if it's an emergency,
Right.
I believe. I believe that's been the.
I believe that's in the
protocol.
policy that if it's an emergency, that they
So,
can go ahead and
so
do it.
we would have a good handle on the items within the purchase orders
Mhm.
and where those materials and supplies are going.
Correct.
They're going to have that information
Mhm.
through the purchase order.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other
You're
questions regarding that?
So I have another question.
Mr. Andriozzi?
Yes, I do. So I'm glad you brought that up because on one of the Lowe's bills, it is $8,000.
Right.
So
Those were the air
I just want to
purifiers.
be sure that the procedure was followed correctly.
Right. That was to buy those HEPA filter machines for all of the classrooms, the administration building, the school offices. Scott went, he got a price from Lowe's. He came to us, said, this is how many they have. This is how much it's going to be. He actually got a discount because he was buying a certain quantity. And so we said, okay, we need to have them because they were doing the walkthroughs with the state. I believe this was before the schools were opening. So they had to get these things in place and they were running out of them. Lowe's was really the only one that had them. So it was kind of one of those, we said, but he came to us, told us how much it is, told us what he was purchasing.
But
I understand that, but again, so Lowe's is very convenient. It's right down the street. So we went to Lowe's. Did we follow the procedure and find if anyone else had them? I understand what you're saying, that a lot of these things are now in short supply. So you have to do what you have to do, I assume. But I
Right.
just want to be sure that all procedures are followed. Because that,
In situations like that, to the best that we can, I know they sometimes look on Amazon, they go to Home Depot. And, sometimes that's the only way we can get them is we have to find them and locate them. And I
But
think
if it's not a matter of an emergency, over $5,000, it would go out to bid.
correct. Yes.
Okay.
You know that.
Anything else, Mr.
And I
Andriozzi?
believe Lowe's is
so
also on the state pricing.
we're calling that an emergency, and we're gonna just assume that was an emergency, and we needed to get them for the walkthrough. So we spent $8,000 locally because it was an emergency.
Right.
I guess I can understand that.
And Mr. Andriozzi, if I may, Mr. Chairman, if I may. The email that was sent to me by Ms. Casanelli does explain that, because I had questioned that, and it's COVID related.
Oh, and that was my first question. Thank you, Mr. De Silva. That was my first question, that hopefully we get reimbursed for all of this money anyway.
And Lowe's is also on the state contract for purchases.
Yeah, state bid list, yeah.
Right.
Again, Ms. Casanelli, thank you very much for all of your, and I know it's hard to sometimes have to chase these things, but I do thank you for the response and all your efforts. And sometimes you can predict future behavior by past practice. So we hope that the future behavior becomes increasingly predictable in terms of us not having to wonder what things are, and that it's all transparent. And that's a reflection on you.
Mr. Chairman?
So,
Excellent questions, Mr. Andriozzi, Mr. De Silva. Thank you for that. Mr. Pollack.
I just have a question for Lisa. So Lisa, looking where it says building supplies and all the line items.
Yep.
With just someone like myself looking at that, are we able to put, say, building supplies? We know where it's going next to it. So say, i.e. Wayland, i.e. Centerdale, just
Sure.
so we know
Yeah.
that's where they're going.
Yep. We
Thank
can
you.
do that. What location, school location or building location? Yeah, that's not a problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other further comments? Okay, we have a
Dr.
motion
Pilata?
on. Yeah.
Dr. Potter?
Mr.
I just
Goho?
have two quick comments. One that I need to mention. Number one, I got to commend Ms. Casanelli and Ms. Lazzarecci because a long-standing audit recommendation dating back over maybe 10, 15 years is to ensure that our operating budget is entered fully into the Munis system. And they succeeded this summer in making sure that that was done. That goes back a long way. Bob Savetti has said that that's been an audit recommendation for about 10 audits. And so all the information has been entered into Munis for very close tracking of expenditures, encumbrances, bills, and really moment-to-moment identification of where we stand fiscally. So it's a lot of work to be able to do that. They spent a lot of time over the summer getting it done, and I have to thank them for that. And that allows the school department and the school committee to have much greater oversight over the day-to-day fiscal status of the district. That's number one. The only other thing I just want to remind the committee of is that we are into the fiscal year 2021 currently. Our current budget is built on an anticipated state aid of $1.2 million based on the March number. And the budget that was approved included that $1.2 million of increase in state aid that we were slated to receive. As of right now, as you know, the legislature has not reconvened to finalize the budget. So that 1.2 million is still not appropriated to us, even though our budget is built on it. So being very cautious and entering all of the information into the Munis system will be able to enable us to keep very close track of where we stand. But hopefully the legislature will convene soon. We're hearing in January, and they will abide by the state aid increases and the promises that were made to municipalities and school departments. But I just want to make you aware of that as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Goho. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the bills. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, use of property requests.
Move passage.
Second,
Mr. Marciano moves passage, seconded by
Mr. Pollock.
Mr. Pollock. Are there questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no requests to address the committee. We have no pending business. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
Don't
Mr.
move.
Pollock, seconded by Mr. Marciano.
Discussion.
Discussion.
I neglected to thank Ms. Lazarecki as well. I'm doing that in public before we leave. So kudos to her for her turmoil and chasing down these things as well.
Thank you.
Got it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Night.